Hi again, it's me, Nick, Lime Green Squid, here with another video response. Now, the video I clicked into was called Religion, 10 Reasons to Destroy It, but when I actually got into the video, it was a Christian argument about the 4 fallacies of atheistic thinking, and I just wanted to pretty much dissect these fallacies. Pretty much, I hope this video that this other person made is his joke, because all he does is throw larger fallacies on these atheistic fallacies. Again, I quote it because they are atheistic, just logic. But if it is a joke, I guess I don't really need to respond to it. But just in case it isn't a joke and someone's actually being serious and it's not a satire, as unbelievable as that is, I just wanted to give my own responses here. The first atheistic fallacy that it tries to address is that atheists love to compare the one and only creator above all other gods, along with every other mythical god and being in the past. This person goes on to say, of course I don't believe in all those other mythical gods like Zeus or Thor or Santa Claus or even the Easter Bunny type things, but I believe in the one creator who is above all of that. Well, every religion has its own version of a creator. Who are you to say that yours is the only one that is correct? A book that was written roughly 3,000 years ago by people that didn't really know anything about the world? Of course we're going to group your God with all the other creation myths. There's no there's no logical way to not think that. Your God is just one more in a long line of gods and goddesses and spirits and deities. I guess it's sort of redundant saying deities, but that are part of creation myth from different cultures. It's all equal. There's none of them are more or less believable than your God is, as just a fact. And the second fallacy that the person tries to address is that atheists, when Christians mention that everything has to have had a creator, we ask who created the creator. Christians will then go back and say, well, God's infinite. He doesn't need a creator. He was always there. But then that goes against your argument that everything that is created needs a creator, or everything perfect supposedly needs to have had a creator to make it. So that just pretty much throws your fallacy back at you. But anyway, as far as we know, the universe is possibly infinite, has possibly always been here. Who knows? We know that our portion of the universe has been in existence for roughly 13-14 billion years from the measurements of all the flying matter in space flying away from each other from a sort of a central point. That can be traced back by proper dating processes to 13-14 billion years in the past. So, if the universe can be infinite and not have a creator and not be created, why even bother? Like, who knows? Maybe there was a god at the very beginning who decided to go flick on this little speck of nothing, and all of a sudden, boom, we're here. But even if that were so, everything that happens is so random that you can only conclude that either God doesn't have any power to make any changes, or that he doesn't care, or the most logical is that he's imaginary. But yeah, that also brings me to the third atheistic fallacy that the Christian guy was trying to argue against. Atheists, in response to Christians always saying, oh, it was God's blessing and all that, we like to ask the question, well, where was your God when bad things happen? He makes a specific argument that atheists will focus on the one little girl that was killed in a fire, where all these other little children were saved in other fires by God working through firemen, which would suspend the free will. I'm not going to go into the free will argument right now, but other than mention that it is the greatest car salesman tactic for Christianity that has ever been created. It's so laughable. It's so obvious we would have free will without a God, but they just decided to, car salesman tactic. I'll leave it at that. But anyway, he says, well, what about all the other children that were saved by God in other fires? Well, they were saved by people in the first place. But then I go back on you and say, well, why are those children more important to save than all the starving people in third world countries? All the children that are getting diseases, starving to death, getting conscripted into little armies to do atrocious things to each other. Where it'll just keep going on and on. I'll ask one more thing, and you'll ask, well, what about all the good things? And I'll ask, what about all bad things? So you try to say that atheists focus only on the bad things, but that's not what we're doing. What we're trying to do is bring the reality of the randomness of both the good and the bad. Good things happen to bad people, bad things happen to good people, good things happen to good people, bad things happen to bad people. The random chance of that does not give any sort of credence to any sort of God or divine intervention. Things happen as they happen. It's completely random. God, like if a God is sitting up there and saying, well, I'll let this rapist survive for about 30 more years, but this child will just die a horrible, diseased death. That's just what my plan is for today. I don't want any part in a religion that has a God like that. Like, it just comes down to like the whole thing. Like, if God was real, he should come down and tell us. If he loves us, he'd be like, hey guys, I love you. I don't want you to go to hell. I don't want you to burn in eternity. I'm going to give you every chance that you get. Just come. I'm just going to come down and tell you that I'm here just to make sure, and everything will be fine. If a God did that, I would convert. I would have no choice but to believe in a God, because I saw it and heard it, and you know, it's just as long as he was able to prove that he could do godly things, obviously. And I'm not going to believe a TV screen that has a big face that says, oh, I'm God, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, it's just stupid the way that the Christians try to work around all the logical fallacies of religion by trying to combat supposed fallacies in atheistic logic by throwing more fallacies at it. One of the questions that he asks is, where would we be if God just decided to deliver all evil, to eliminate all evil? We would be probably in a nice paradise. God wouldn't have had to set up a hell or any sort of torturous place. Obviously, a God that wants to set up a bunch of people to fight each other and kill each other and have some of them go to hell, which is all part of his plan. He knows exactly who's going to hell and who's not. He created the universe to be that way. Is not a loving God. But yeah, the next fallacy that he tries to address is that atheists tend to ignore the positive aspects of God and only focus on the negative aspects of God, which goes back to what I was saying. Well, again, we only focus on the negative to bring you into reality that it's all random and everything. Like the God of the Bible ordered people to commit genocide, to stone women to death if they were not virgins before they were married, to kill homosexuals, to just do everything like that. He was a genocidal maniac. Which makes it more clear that he was just created by humans, bigoted humans that wanted to take over and justify their acts of evil by blaming on, well, God told me to do it. Anything can be justified that way. It's a scary thing, because people will use anything they can to justify evil. Will use a God. It's like, why would God create every single human being on earth to select a small group to go around and kill everyone else or convert everyone else just because God decided not to tell them that he existed? Which some Christians will say, well, he of course did. They just rejected him. Well, the Bible doesn't make any mention of that. You're inventing excuses, inventing answers. You're picking and choosing from the Bible. You can't say that homosexuals are wrong without sacrificing a goat to your God every Sunday. You got to get rid of these outdated, horrendous, inhumane laws. It's just stupid. People will just cling to it because it's all they know. Wake up. The hand that helps is far greater than the hand that prays. I guess this video is closing, but yeah, that's pretty much it. You can't debunk fallacies by throwing greater fallacies at them. And they're not even fallacies in the first place, they're common logic.